Hi, friends. How's everybody doing? It's your old pal SPJ here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to SPJ Live. Hope wherever you are in the world that you had yourself a good week. You're staying healthy, that you're not sick, and that you've been excellent to each other. Looks like we got a few of those usual suspects in the chat. Music Therapy Laz. Laz, great to have you joining in for the live thing. I saw Riley in the chat as well. Riley, it's awesome that you were able to make one of these in person. It's great to have you. But hey, you watch this on repeat. That doesn't bother me, man. You watch when you can. And Mr. Ben Coombs in the house. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. This is good. This is good. It's been a weird week. It's been fun, but it's been weird. Had some ups, had some downs, and, well, I figured today we'd have some fun with probably the most fun-looking guitar that I have right now. Because pretty soon it's going to have to go back to its original home. This was not anything that I received as compensation for my demo video that I did of this earlier in the year, which if you haven't seen is somewhere on the channel. But that's okay by me because of several reasons. One, it's Tiger Stripe, and I just don't really... I need guitars that I'm actually going to use in the studio and on stage. And I want something with a Floyd, but I want something that's going to fit aesthetically. But it's also because I'm thinking, at least from what Aljon and I, Aljon Go that is, over at Kramer Guitars and I were talking about earlier this year, it was kind of like this flow of guitars in and out. They send me some, I'd make videos, I send them back, they send me more. And, if I were to hold on to these things, it would be quite a chore to keep track of all this stuff. But I'm okay. I will survive. As the song says. So I'm okay. I'll be all right. We will live to fight and die another day. So, yeah, that's happening. It's going to go back to its home, and I'm okay with it. I've come to accept it. So I figured we'll have some fun with it. I have the 2020 pedal board all built up. The rig is all set up, and we're just going to have some fun with some shreddy tones and some not-so-shreddy tones as well, because that kind of stuff is fun, too. Yeah. If you're joining for the first time tonight, either here live in person or sometime in the future watching this on repeat, welcome. We invite you to have some fun with us, join the chat, and get to know everybody. We try to be as accommodating and welcoming as we possibly can. And there's only really one rule. Don't be a dick. If you are a dick, you will be kicked out of the chat. So please, if you haven't done so already, join the chat. Let us know that you're here, where you're watching from. And we'd also love it if you would give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, and all that good stuff. So yeah, as I said, this is going back. So I've obviously done the demo video of this, and I've done the review video of this. And this is sort of, I guess I could say, the swan song thoughts on this guitar after everything that I've done with it and after everything that I've played with it. For those of you who don't know spec-wise, you can watch the video later on if you want. But basic rundown is this is a completely maple guitar, maple body, maple neck, Seymour Duncan pickups, JB and Jazz, pretty cool. 2 volume controls for the bridge and the neck, both push-pull for series and parallel for both coils on the humbuckers. Tone control, mini 3-way toggle, 22 frets, Floyd Rose, the gamut, all the good stuff. It's 1980s in a guitar, basically, especially with that finish. But, you know, one of the things, and I think Ben has a good point, the guitar begs for a stereo or tri-chorus. It really, really does beg for that kind of a setup, mostly just because it's so fitting. And with that in mind, here's this isn't tri-stereo chorus, but it is chorus. Turn on a little echo there for a second. And that's basically a Keeley Compressor Plus with a Walrus Audio Julia, a Walrus Audio EB10 doing some EQ tone shaping, and Walrus Audio Mako D10 delay. That's a lot of Walrus in that sound. Yeah, these kind of guitars, the way that they are put together really does kind of speak in a chorusy language, in a chorusy tone. Obviously, with the parallel series switch, we can get a much thinner sound, a much more 80s appropriate sound for a clean tone, I suppose I could say. I basically built my rig around that chorus I got from you. Nice. Well, I'm glad it's going to good use. Speaking of pedals and that chorus, since I sold it to you, Ben, for anybody watching, I'm going to be listing some new pedals that I'm going to sell up on my Reverb page. A lot of people are butthurt about the seller fee increase. I am not one of those people, and I'm the one who eats the fee. I've seen a lot of people like, I'm never going to use Reverb again. And it's like, you can still buy stuff on Reverb, and it's not going to be a problem. It's the sellers that have to worry about it. So I am not going to be changing my practices of selling pedals on Reverb. I'm still going to sell pedals on Reverb that basically the same way I've always listed them for sale on Reverb. So you're not going to have to worry about paying a premium. So there you go. A little bit of wah. But what I love about the clean tones on this, and I love about the guitar in and of itself, as far as the electronics go, they're very easy to manipulate. They're very simple to dial in. Great for all these different kind of crazy things that you might want to do. So I'll just go to my straight clean tone right now. So this is nothing but reverb. That's neck pickup. That's parallel. got a little bit of compression on it. From the Compressor Plus, I can easily take that off. But I like it I like it on, you know, kind of reins things in a little bit. And you can just sort of start building things around that. So I can put on the slow from Wall Audio, which is a very ambient kind of reverb. And then I'm going to put the Mako on, but I have a preset on this particular preset, which is supposed to be like a really washy, old school digital delay with a little bit of pitch degradation in it. It's kind of hard to hear, so let me add in a little bit more of that. It's a control called Age on that pedal. Crazy. You can kind of hear little by little the pitches start to get crushed in audio quality, and there's something charming about that, which if you're trying to make this really big washy ambient sound, is pretty fun. I certainly wouldn't be using it for anything like taking a lead on with that much pitch degradation in it. But if you're trying to create something that is much more, you know, big strummed chord that you just want the sound to be big, that little bit of tension in the sound just kind of makes things a little bit more pleasing to the ear. Now I only have a little bit of it on because I just wanted a little bit of it. So yeah, even just with these humbuckers, you can do a lot of guys that do ambient stuff. They love single coils because it maintains a cleanliness to the sound, and they can just kind of create this big washy sound, which is cool. But at the end of the day, I think you can do just as much with a humbucker equipped guitar as long as you have a good sounding pickup for one, and if there's any sort of capabilities to switch up the sound, which is actually one of the main reasons why my main clean tone actually has an EQ on it. So that's the Walrus Audio EB10. Now that's just compression and chorus. But if I go switch the EB10 on, basically what I'm doing with this is I'm using it as a way to pull some of the mids out of the humbuckers so those frequencies don't clip sooner. Dialing those out will help keep the amp a lot cleaner. Taking out a little bit of the low end so that things don't get too boomy, and then adding in some of the treble so that things are, you know, just a little bit more shimmery. Put that delay back on. There you go. Oh. Now that's an 80s clean tone if I've ever heard one. Now I mostly do that with like the full fat humbucker. And that's really where I like things to sit. That's what I tend to like most. There we go. How is the feed out there? Been having some weird internet issues recently. All right. So now on to this next sound, which I like a lot with this. This is definitely not a shreddy tone, but it's a dirtier tone. This is basically kind of, if I need something a little on the crunchier side and more just for, you know, softer parts, still with the compressor on. The compressor's on all the time for this setup. But this is just the MXR Timmy with the Gig Rigs pre-gain boost going into it and, you know, just driving it a little bit harder. Just kind of carries things out a little bit more. If I take the pre-gain out, it doesn't sound bad. It sounds really nice, actually. But if I just drive it a little bit harder, so pretty shreddy looking guitar. Doesn't exactly seem like something you can get all feelsy with. But yeah, that sounds pretty good. Pretty good. Like it a lot, as a matter of fact. Good sound to slap some fuzz on top of. Disgustingly good. Yep, that's good stuff. Hello, Janice. How are you? Good to have you here. Everyone needs a Kramer in the tool shed. Just saying. Yep, I agree. I definitely agree. Now this is another one that the slow sounds really good with. Yeah, surprisingly, this slow reverb works with a lot of those sounds. Hey, Russell Mania, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. I have other stuff on this board, but unfortunately, while I was finishing up the board build for all of this, I ran out of cable. So I'm waiting for a shipment of some more cabling for me to really finish off this board. As of right now, the Chase Bliss Audio Dark World and the Keeley Echoes are not plugged in. Power is plugged in, but audio is not. And I'm a little sad about that because I love both those pedals and I want to get them into the rotation. Speaking of Chase Bliss, I completely forgot to tell you guys about this. And it's not about the preamp. You already know about that. I've decided that it's about time that I started learning how to do MIDI, how to program MIDI, how to understand MIDI, and do all the things that you can do on a pedal board with MIDI. So I like a lot of the Chase Bliss stuff, and their MIDI protocol, with the exception of the automaton preamp, uses TRS cables for the MIDI protocol as opposed to your standard 5-pin MIDI connector. And Chase Bliss makes a little converter box called the MIDI box. And I just wanted to show you guys the MIDI box real quick because I also want to say thank you to Joel at Chase Bliss for sending this to me. I was not expecting him to just say, hey, I'll send you one. But I had been looking at prices for this on the internet. Many stores that were supposed to carry it were out of stock. And there were a few other places that had it that were charging, $10 to $15 higher than the price that Chase Bliss had this listed at on their website. So I just emailed Joel asking if I would be able to get one of these, if he knew anywhere that I could find one at the appropriate price. And he just said, don't worry about it. I'll send you one. And it's here. And so now I can figure out what the hell to do with MIDI, which is great because there were several Chase Bliss pedals I wanted to put on this final realized pedal board for 2020, which I'm not going to show you. I will show you in a future video, but not right now. But the Dark World was one of them because I've been getting into this idea of doing some more ambient kind of guitar playing, incorporating it with the hard rock aspect of it, going with those shifts between loud and quiet and ambient, and just kind of working things through and just having fun with it. But unfortunately, I am one of those guys that when I play live and I perform, I just need things to happen at a click of a button. I can't be doing the tap dance all night long. So with this, I should be able to do a lot of click of the button, spur of the moment stuff, which I'm very, very excited about. Yes, Russell, very big reveal to come. I mean, there will be some clues to it this weekend on Stompbox Saturday, as far as what is going to be eventually on the board. But by the time we actually get to the final, long form video where I sit down with this pedal board and actually show you guys the pedals, talk about the philosophies of the sounds and what exactly I'm going for, something may change. The Dark World is on there right now, but I was equally as adamant about putting the Mood on there because I think that is one of the most unique sounding pedals I own right now, and probably will for a while. I don't see myself ever really getting rid of any of the Chase Bliss pedals that I have in wooden boxes and the automaton. I don't see myself getting rid of, even if I'm not using them. They just are totally unique. And I always want to have unique stuff on there. And Mood is definitely fits that category. But even with the Mako and the Echoes, it's possible one of those might go. It's possible that I have a couple things that I'm looking to sell or trade off. And one of the things that I'm looking for is, a sort of multi-purpose modulation pedal that can cover choruses, flanger, phaser, all the basic stuff that I would normally want in modulation, but that I'm going to be able to just have on the board and call up however I see fit, which is kind of nice. So, the board is kind of an ever evolving beast, if you will. By the time we get to its final form, who knows what's going to be on there. So this is just the rocker verb now. Boost it with the Timmy. So yeah, boost it with the Timmy, have a little bit of high gain fun, why not? Then there's a big old fuzzy sound on here. Something pretty big muffy, but not quite a big muff. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Something kind of shoegazy, big fuzz, good for rhythm, maybe get a little bit of a Gilmore-ish kind of big muffy lead tone out of it if I want it to be that. But for the most part, it's just something really to have some fun with, you know, not meant to be something to really take too seriously. It's just those in the moment things where you want something that just pleases you. That's really what I feel like that sound is. It's not about a sound that it's for a song. It's not any particular part. It's just for me. So that's nice. Oh, thanks, Ben. I appreciate that. Ben says I always have a good fuzz tone, and that's a hard thing to do. I actually think it is a hard thing to do. Speaking of fuzz, Mr. Albus Band. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. I actually think it's really difficult to have a good fuzz tone. And I feel like fuzz is one of those things right now, especially, that is getting a little bit more popular and people want to use it more. But there's still this ceiling that people have with fuzz that it just doesn't make any sense to me, because they get one fuzz and they don't like it, and then they just write it off. I think most of us that enjoy a good fuzz pedal will probably tell you that if you don't like one, you'll probably like another. And if you don't like this particular version of this fuzz pedal, you'll probably like another version of it. You know, when you think about how many different versions of the fuzz face there are alone, you know, I myself am not a huge fuzz face guy, but I like a few different variations of the theme. The Keeley Monterey is a good one. And even some of the Dunlop mini fuzz face variations that there have been, I've liked those as well. There's also the Joe Bonamassa fuzz face, which I like a lot, mainly because it was designed for a guy who uses humbuckers. And I find that most fuzz faces don't really sit well with humbuckers. The Joe Bonamassa one is a completely different story. But Big Muff's another one with a lot of variation, a lot of different sort of divergences from the original idea, not just from Electro-Harmonix, but from others interpreting their original circuit. You know, I have the Swollen Pickle Mark III on the floor, on the board, which is basically sort of George Tripps's Big Muff, and they've miniaturized it. It's a great sound. There's a demo up on the channel for anyone who wants to watch. Hey, Mickey, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you here. Thanks so much for joining in the fun. But basically, for me, with the Swollen Pickle, and I was going back and forth between this Swollen Pickle and the Op Amp Big Muff, there was just something about the way that the Swollen Pickle cut, the way that the tone stack played with the whole context of the rig that I was building, that just made it a lot better suited for this rig than, you know, the Op Amp Big Muff. That's not to say that that won't change, because it probably will. So that's something in and of itself entirely. But fuzz is just one of those. It's just one of those animals that you have to work hard to train and tame for yourself. A lot of ambient guys are starting to get into using certain types of fuzz pedals, and, you know, really doing some interesting things with different types of dirt. And you know, it's easy to put a washy reverb on a Big Muff and call it ambient because My Bloody Valentine did it. It's another thing entirely to put a big washy reverb on a Big Muff because that's what works for you. As for me and my sound and my rig, it's not about it necessarily even working for something in the set. It really is just all about having something fun to explore. And a lot of this board build that I've, been working on has really all been about established sounds that work for what they need to be. Then at the same time, also having sounds that are different than what I normally have and allow me to explore a little bit more, will allow me to experiment in some way, shape, or form. And I find that so far, for the most part, this assortment has really let me do that. If anything, I would say that there's a small chance that one of the problems that I have with this board is really that it's just too small of space to put stuff on that I want. I want to have a little bit more space to put stuff on to explore with and really be able to, call in different options. The sad thing about a lot of this is that most of the boards that you can buy these days are the boards that I already have. I used the Woggy pedal board for this particular build. But outside of that, it's like what I have is either too small or too large. And anything that I can buy right now, one, I don't have the money to buy anything right now. So it's not something like that I'm going to be investing any money in anytime soon. But the flip side of that too is that, again, the options are either too large or they're too small. I just feel like, in a way, I'm kind of caught between that rock and a hard place idea, where it's just like, well, you're damned one way and you're damned another. So, what are you going to do? For the most part, I like the compact nature of this board. I wish maybe I had the next size up so that I had a little bit more space going horizontal rather than, vertical. So, whatever. We live to fight and die another day, as I like to say. So here's another sound. Definitely not shreddy, but it's gainy. That's the Fuzzbender, the Julia, and the Mako D1, just for some really swirly, twirly, kind of Smashing Pumpkins-y kind of modulated lead tone. Janice, if you're seeing any blinking on my screen, like up in here, that's on my end because I have the fan running in here, but the lights in here to make the picture a little clearer make a shadow on the back wall. So that might be one of the blinkings that you're seeing. But it's been, we've got the fires going on in all over California. And so it's hot, it's muggy, it's smoky. It's not a good time in California right now. So there's the air conditioning on, the fan is on. It's all kinds of a mess here. Yeah, Mickey, the sky is it's not quite, I'd say it's sepia tone right now, but like in parts of NorCal, definitely orange. In parts of Oregon, definitely red. It's weird, man. Like, and the fire been anywhere near us, like in Orange County. The fires are mostly in LA County. They're mostly in San Diego and in NorCal. So it's really weird how the way that the smoke kind of has like pushed itself throughout the state. It's not fun. Hi, Lillian. Glad you liked the bends. You find little things every now and again that make things really fun. But a decidedly not shreddy tone. This is something that I've been enjoying messing around with. So check this out. We've got the compressor. We have the EB10 doing some EQ stuff. We have the Julia. We have the D1 and the slow. Wow, this is all walrus pedals except for the compressor. This is crazy. Yeah. So I have on the D1 this kind of, well, let me turn off the slow so that you can really hear it. This sort of auto swell. So slow, Julia, EB10 with that auto swell delay. Quick, 90s kids, what is that? So basically what's happening there is I've got the mix full 100% wet on the D1, and the D1 has an attack control so that the echoes will actually swell in on that first initial attack before the repeats really start. I've turned that up all the way so that I'm only getting that swell in. So it does a lot of the hard work for me. It's very 1980s session guitar player. Just a nice little thing. then we can add pretty much whatever else we want onto that. And then you can just create complete audio cacophony, chaos, kind of stupid, unusable, but very fun guitar tones. Yeah, man. I'm going to miss this guitar. I will. In all honesty, I will miss it. My final thoughts on this guitar, and this is for I know a lot of you watching right now, you like this guitar. I think that went without saying. Most of you were watching when I unboxed this thing, and it was funny, to say the least. But a lot of people have been wondering what exactly the deal is with Kramer for a while. How should we feel about it? What is there to really say about it? In all honesty, my experience with this guitar has been incredibly favorable and very, very fun for me. To have a guitar that looks as ridiculous as this is pretty funny, to say the least. The photos that I posted of it on social media got a lot of play out of it because I do not look like the kind of guy that plays this kind of guitar, which is fine. But I like having a Floyd Rose guitar in the arsenal. It's something that I kind of abandoned for well over 15 years of my life. Maybe less than that, 10 to 15 years of my life. I just didn't want to bother with a Floyd Rose, didn't want to touch it, didn't want to go near it. But I like it. I like having it. It's a cool tool. And if you find interesting ways of using it, it can actually help inspire some really cool creative parts, some nifty recordings, some sounds, some textures. And it's more than just a dive bomb machine. It's going to take some time for you to actually get used to the way that a Floyd Rose will warble, because it doesn't work necessarily like your classic 6-screw Fender bridge. It is a 2-poster, but even that, this has its range of motion is very wide, but it gets there in what feels like a very short amount of time. Because even if you lightly just, when you start to move it even just a little, that vibrato warble is there and you're not going to be able to get rid of it. And that's fine if that's what you want. But if you want something that's going to be subtle, it might take you a little bit of time to figure out the nuance, figure out the touch. But the guitar is solidly constructed. I really didn't have any issues at all with it in the entire time that I've had it. And there were a couple comments related to wanting to modify things with the Floyd Rose, like no noise springs, a bigger tone block in the, on the underside of the trem bar, whammy bar. It's not tremolo, it's vibrato. Upgrading saddles, upgrading, the locking nut. Honestly, even right now, there's no spring noise. There's nothing. The sound is pretty much exactly what I was anticipating it to be. And I don't really feel any need to, if this were a guitar that I was either to pay the money that it's worth, which it's around $800 for this with a case, which is an incredible price for an all maple guitar. I wouldn't really feel the need to do anything to it. USA Seymour Duncan pickups, the series parallel switches. The only real thing that I didn't like was the mini toggle switch, and that's just because the edges of it are a little sharp. So I might, if this were to be my guitar, take some sandpaper to the edges of that and just round them off a little bit so that it's a little bit friendlier to switch, and that I'm not, in the heat of the moment scratching my pinky, because I found myself switching pickups mostly with my pinky and my thumb. It's like, bridge pickup, pinky, cool, there we go, flick it back down, might use the pinky, might use the thumb, but I like that it's low profile and out of the way. That's cool. But even still, there's a lot to this guitar that is to like. I can't really say anything bad about that, which is incredible. A lot of people want to rag on Gibson. They want to rag on the subsidiary Gibson brands, like Kramer, like Epiphone, thinking that they kind of reflect something about Gibson. But I honestly, this is a sleeper hit. If more people aren't paying attention to what Kramer has been putting out this year and what they are looking to put out in the coming years, they're doing themselves a disservice, because there might be some things that sort of fit this nostalgia wave that's going on right now. And I don't necessarily mean those of you who grew up in the 80s and are pining for the days of when the Sunset Strip was actually the Sunset Strip. I could even see crops of hipsters liking this tiger stripe finish or some other things that might be coming out because they find it ironic or whatever. I just find it funny because this is not a guitar that I would sling across my shoulders 9 times out of 10, but it's just a great guitar. It's a lot of fun, and I'm glad that we had this. I'm glad we had this little moment together to send it off back to Gibson, and maybe one day it'll find a forever home. But for now, maybe we'll get something else in the Kramer category. I know what I want. I want a Night Swan. Blue polka dot Night Swan. Actually, I want a yellow polka dot white Night Swan. That's really what I want. I don't want the blue polka dot. I want my Dusty Rhodes yellow and black polka dots on a Night Swan for my personal collection. That's more what I would like. But the 84 looks interesting, which is basically just, copying Ed's 5150 guitar. The Berettas look pretty good. And even some of the newer stuff that they're working on, like the Assaults, look pretty cool. They're sort of like, Kramer Les Pauls, which is a lot of fun, I think. Other than that, guys, it is getting to be about that time. It's been a really long day, and I'm starting to hit a wall. So we're gonna call it a little earlier tonight. I just want to thank you guys for spending some time with me today. I hope you guys had a great week. Hope you guys had fun. Whatever you did, I hope that you're safe. Hope you continue to stay healthy. And hopefully next week we'll be back with SPJ Live with a little bit more to see with you guys. Hopefully, as we close out the year, we'll have some more news, have some more guests, have some cool new gear to take a look at. But I do want to let those of you watching either right now or in the future in on something kind of cool. So as you may have remembered from last week, Andy from Sinusoid Cables said that he was going to be helping us out with a little coupon code for all of you who are watching the show. So I officially have that coupon code. It's at the top of the chat that was on here tonight. But I will let you know now. If you go right now to sinusoid.com, check out some cables and might want to purchase some cables, use the coupon code SPJ10 at checkout. You will get 10% off your order of anything on the Sinusoid website, from the custom cables that you might want to build to pre-made cables like their sliver stuff or their slate cables. So go get yourself some custom cables. Go get yourself some high-quality cables. Use the code SPJ10. Get 10% off. Save some money. Maybe some of you guys will get that black rainbow tech flex that Andy was telling us so much about. I look forward to doing more with the cats at Sinusoid as the year closes out, and hopefully into next year as well. And for right now, I'm going to leave you all, and I hope that you all have a great weekend. Please come back on Saturday for Stomp Box Saturday, where we'll be continuing the pedalboard build mini series for 2020, this time focusing on the power supply from Excel Audio, which is the Effects Power Source 12. If you haven't done so already, give this video a thumbs up, share the channel with your friends, click the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell. You can help support the channel either by becoming a subscriber over on Patreon and supporting the channel that way, or by just tipping me on PayPal if you feel the need. Links are in the description below. Until next time, my friends, I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, wishing you all out there great tone, good health, and happy stomping. I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Cheers, friends. Have a good night.